War continues in episode 2 of Juuni Taisen. Guys, this show's gonna be a lot of fun just for how ridiculous it is. We got to see a dog and a chicken team up in this week's episode. Just saying this stuff out loud really makes me love this series. That and the fact that it's completely unabashed with this extreme over-the-top action and super ridiculous gore. This week's episode was really great because we finally got to see different members of the Zodiacs interacting with one another, more so than we saw in the first episode. We got to see alliances being born, battles being started, and all types of gory goodness. Like, we actually picked up from the scene where the rabbit... Oh, and by the way, I'm just going to refer to these characters by their animal that they're associated with on the Zodiac, because, one, I've always had trouble pronouncing Japanese names despite the fact that I've watched thousands and thousands of hours of anime. It's just easier to refer to them as their animal form. So the rabbit had just finished killing the boar, and you actually see him reaching down into her chest and pulling the poisonous jewel out and everything, and then immediately taking control of her body as her eyes turn red like a zombie. It's really freaking creepy, and I can't wait to see more of her in the series. What I love about it is that despite the fact that that character was killed off early on, we're still going to technically get to see more of them, so that's pretty dang great right there. Hopefully we'll get to see more of that weird, freaky snake brother, too. But most of this episode right here is just sort of all of these characters collecting themselves after there's that big freaking collapse in the tower. They all run off in multiple directions, with some of them teaming up and some of them coming up with their very own plans and reluctantly teaming up with other people in the hopes that it'll get them farther ahead in this competition. The characters that they focus on the most in this episode are the monkey, the rat, and then of course we have the chicken and the dog. Weird combinations, I know, but it actually makes for some pretty intriguing storytelling, especially because the monkey is apparently the one who was responsible for that big explosion. I thought that it was going to be the sheep guy, especially considering that they said that he was like a master of explosives, but I guess that was just some sort of red herring for the viewers. So the monkey is actually an extreme pacifist, despite the fact that she likes to make crap blow up, and she did this to sort of dissuade anybody from coming up with any other crazy ideas about not going along with this whole alliance situation. She could have just said something out loud, but who cares? Anime! Blow crap up! That's the way we love to do things. And she is also hanging out with the rat, who is a character that frankly is very hard to read. He's called the Rat despite the fact that he doesn't really look like one. He looks like a freaking character out of Overwatch. And I don't really know what his abilities are, but everybody seems to be looking out for him as if there's something not quite right about the rat. The point is, both of these characters are working together, and they seem to have something of a mutual relationship with each other. They also give us an excuse to learn a little bit more about some of the other Zodiac members. They are definitely building up the character of the Ox, who basically looks like the poster child for the series right next to the rabbit. This guy is going to be really freaking awesome, and supposedly he's definitely the favorite to win in the big Juuni Taisen tournament, or whatever the heck it is. And we get to see a little bit of him in action in this episode when he gets into a battle with a horse, which unfortunately we don't get to see the conclusion of, or get to see really how it all went down. I can't wait to see all of that, because this dude is just so awesome. The way he moves with his big horns on his head, and he kills people with like a giant toothpick. It's friggin' awesome. I love this guy. But the bulk of this episode is devoted to the chicken and the dog. Mostly the dog, who I thought was going to be one of my favorite characters, but spoiler warning, he might have just been killed outright in this episode right here. What's unique about this character is that due to his nature, he is indeed a lone wolf of sorts, and he wants to work on his own, and he also happens to have the abilities to basically master poison. There's no poison that can actually hurt this guy's body, and he can also employ poison in his attacks as well. And due to this, he's able to actually survive that weird jewel being inside of his body. No trouble for him at all. So he decides he's just going to wait around and wait for the perfect opportunity until the last couple fighters are around to take those jewels and become the king of the Juuni Taisen Championship 2017. It's going to be freaking awesome for this guy. The problem is, he ends up getting caught by a chicken. That weird chick shows up who's wearing practically nothing, leaving little to the imagination, which for some people is cool and other people is creepy. For me, it falls somewhere in between. What I will say is, her character seems like she's going to be a lot of fun, and predictably, she's kind of hard to read. She comes across as genuinely wanting to help out the dog character and even wanted to join Monkey's alliance, But here she's desperately just looking for any help that she can find. And she's also worried about the rabbit who's just going around town sending his weird zombie goons after everyone to kill them. So she comes up with this big plan where they're going to start this alliance and they're getting ready to attack the rabbit. And this is probably the most shocking scene of the entire episode, outside of just a really cool killer flashback of watching the dog just completely wreck people in a super violent scene. He's able to pass on this like weird venomous solution to people by biting into them, and he can create these like poisons which actually enhance people's abilities. And the chicken starts to get really freaking powerful. Saying that out loud is so awesome. So the chicken starts to like really pump up, but she can't control her power, and she's getting ready to fight. And the dog looks like he's on top of the world. He's controlling this chick. Everything's going according to plan. And then suddenly the chicken just like grabs him in the face, and you hear these like nasty sound effects like his skull is being ripped apart. It fades to black. What is going on? I want to know. What's the rundown on this week's episode of Juuni Taisen? This was another solid episode. I don't think it had the great production value that the first one had in terms of its action. That being said, it looked solid the entire freaking time. Every single time there was an action scene, it at least looked really good. The characters all have so much distinctiveness to them that you immediately recognize them when you see them. And I love the concept of a series that doesn't necessarily have a main character, but just goes around to a really diverse cast. It's like something you would see in Lost. It kind of gives me that feeling. There are a lot of shows that can pull off that concept without it getting too tired and not having to make sure you don't miss a single episode or you'll be lost. But I'm really enjoying it in this one right here. That being said, there's still nothing really too groundbreaking about the show, but I will say that it's just really fun to watch. It certainly has a style about it that makes it fun, and I also love how every episode, it looks like they're going to get into the rules of the Juuni Taisen just a little bit more. Apparently, if you're in this competition, you can straight up just run the whole time. Like, you should just get in an airplane and, like, fly to another country and everything's going to be cool. The difference is in this one, everybody's got these, like, weird lumps of poison inside of their bodies, so they only have, like, a very small time limit to do things. So even if they were able to, say, catch a freaking Uber, they're probably not going to make it out of town very quick. And especially with all these people having crazy abilities and powers, they make it clear that all of these people have some sort of distinct ability about them, and I'm interested to learn about each and every one. What I'm basically trying to say is that this is a series that is not necessarily doing anything new, but it's doing a lot right, and it's being really entertaining with its subject matter, and if anything, it's just great to see these wacky characters go to war with each other in the middle of an empty city. It's action-packed, it's super fun, and very stylistic. I liked this episode a lot. I didn't love it, but I still cannot wait to see more. I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. Check it out, guys. You heard my thoughts on the episode. Make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below, and what you hope to see from the 3rd episode of Juuni Taisen. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more awesome anime reviews. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay Dandale, baby!